You're live, Mr. Chairman.
Welcome, everybody. Would like to call this Greenville County Council regular meeting to order, and I will ask if Councilor Shaw will give us the invocation.
Is Clerk of Court Jay Gresham here? There he is. Our newly elected Clerk of Court, Mr. Jay Gresham, has agreed to give us our invocation.
Thank you. Let's pray. Heavenly Father, thank you for this day, for blessing and calling Greenville County our home. We come before you tonight, mindful of your goodness, grateful for the many ways you provided for this community through strong families, hardworking neighbors, faithful churches, and a quiet sacrifice of many. Lord, I pray first for the people of this county. Every child, every parent, every teacher, every small business owner, for the elderly who helped build this place, and for the young who will one day lead it. I ask you watch over every neighborhood, every school, every corner of Greenville County, those who are thriving and those who are struggling. Let us never know to the needs of others. Give us eyes and to see and the hearts that we are willing to serve. I pray for justice in this county, real justice, the kind that reflects your righteousness and not just human rules. Let it be fair and firm, but always guided by mercy and truth. I lift up our country and those you have placed in positions of national and state leadership. I pray for them. Give them courage to lead well, humility to listen, and conviction to do what is right, even though sometimes it is difficult. And I ask for your blessing on our local government, on all the quiet work done behind the scenes to keep this county running, from our deputies to our court clerks, from road crews to administrators. Strengthen their hands and encourage their hearts. Lord, we need a generation of young men and women in this county who will love you, love their neighbors, and answer the call to serve. And now, Lord, I pray for this council. You have given them a solemn responsibility to govern not for themselves, but for others. I ask that you give them wisdom tonight, wisdom that isn't from politics or pressure, but from you. May they lead with integrity, seek the truth in all things, and remember always who they serve. May your hand be upon this meeting. May peace guide the discussions, and may every decision made here tonight serve the people well. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Mr. Gresham. Let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated. Next on the agenda item is the approval of minutes.
Move approval of the minutes from our April 15th meeting.
You all in favor, please say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Thank you. Before we move to item 5, I want to do something that's out of order of the agenda, but out of respect for everybody's time. We've had several agenda items that were pulled. I'll allow any colleagues that want to speak on any of these to do so before we move on, but we are officially removing item 9, which is the resolution supporting Greater Greenville Sanitation District. We are also removing 16, which is the 16B and C, which one is in reference to parks that were under consideration to send over to Travelers Rest. The other is the motion to suspend council rules in order to reconsider the Greater Greenville Sanitation Commission $20 million general obligation bond. And just in case you came for those particular items, we just want to make sure to be respectful of your time, let you know those are being removed. And if anybody who presented those would like to speak on them, you may, or we'll move forward. All right. We will move on to proclamations and special recognitions, and I have the honor of this first one, which is for NextGen. We're joined tonight by the team from NextGen, the Greenville Entrepreneur Network, which helps Greenville County residents launch and grow businesses, homegrown businesses that support our community and our local economy. This past year alone, NextGen supported 145 local companies, generating nearly $80 million in revenue, with average wages 19% higher than county average. That's 757 jobs created by companies founded right here that in many cases wouldn't exist without this kind of tailored support. One example of their work is the Next Venture Summit, which brings visibility and investment to our region to support businesses started by and employing the people who live here. NextGen's work ensures that Greenville County isn't just keeping pace, but leading when it comes to innovation and entrepreneurship by the people of this community. This council understands that high-impact small companies are critical to true economic development. NextGen helps ensure that talent stays here, companies scale here, and the future of our economy is being written right here in Greenville County. NextGen isn't just a partner in progress, they're an engine of it. So we're proud to support their efforts and grateful for their continued commitment to making Greenville County a great place to start and scale a business. If you would please clap in support of NextGen and what they do for our county. Thank you very much. Thank you again. Next on the agenda, Councilor Seaman has a proclamation for EMS Week.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Dr. Blackwell, please join me at the podium and introduce the folks you have with you tonight.
Thank you, Councilman Seaman. Mr. Chairman, Mr. Vice Chairman, members of County Council, thank you for the proclamation, which is recognizing May 19th through 23rd as EMS Week. This is especially important for us this year because not only are we celebrating our 50th anniversary of EMS for Greenville County, because your predecessors, County Council, back in 1975, issued an ordinance to start a municipal county-run EMS system. So we'll be celebrating that 50-year anniversary this year. And we were also named on March the 7th of this year. Greenville County EMS was named the EMS System of the Year by the South Carolina EMS Association. Each year, I ask representatives to accept this proclamation on the department's behalf. And this year, I would like to invite up my colleagues that represent our administrative staff. These are not the EMTs, paramedics, or dispatchers that are doing the job every day. These are folks behind the scenes that keep the department running and keep our doors open. It includes our administrative assistants. That cue was to come on up. This includes our administrative assistants, our education coordinators, our revenue cycle specialists for billing and collections, our records and probate services, recruitment, retention, our purchasing specialists, community engagement, our employee services specialists, our schedulers, our simulation specialists, our data analysts, and our safety and compliance managers. So I would be remiss if I did not mention at this podium the great staff at the Vehicle Service Center who keep our trucks operational, Gilbert Ivy and Ken Pescio, who keep our trucks in the street. They keep us safe, and they're part of our team as well. So anyhow, Ms. Seaman, thank you for the honor of giving us the proclamation.
Thank you, Dr. Blackwell. Whereas Greenville County EMS provides a vital public service delivering emergency care 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, and is the sole provider for medical 911 calls, responding to more than 93,000 calls in 2024. And whereas Greenville County EMS employs more than 300 talented and dedicated staff members, paramedics, EMTs, telecommunicators, support service technicians, and administrators who execute a high-performance tiered system that provides exceptional care to Greenville County citizens, as well as having a developed tactical EMS team to support the medical needs of local law enforcement agencies during high-risk operations. And whereas Greenville County EMS has completed its second internal paramedic academy and 7th EMS academy, producing a continued legacy of high-performing paramedics and technicians. And whereas Greenville County Emergency Medical Services has been named the EMS System of the Year by the South Carolina EMS Association, they were also awarded Mission Lifetime EMS Gold Plus status by the American Heart Association for its excellent program and have been awarded Accredited Center of Excellence by the International Academies of Emergency Dispatch. And whereas on the department's 50th anniversary, Greenville County Council would like to recognize the contributions of Greenville County EMS throughout their recent natural disasters that have shaken our community, resulting in a 103% increase in medical calls and a 1,235% increase in fire calls during Hurricane Helene disaster. And during the 2025 wildfires, where they provided not only dispatch services for 18 fire departments, but also provided medical support and rehabilitation for all firefighters. Now, therefore, Greenville County Council is proud to honor the incredible talent, the purpose, and the passion of all Greenville County EMS staff and acknowledges their essential role in public health by proclaiming May 19th through 23rd, 2025 as Emergency Medical Services Week. Congratulations and thanks to you all for your service.
Thank you very much. All right. Next, we have appearances on current agenda items. And again, just to be clear, because we do have several that are on the list that are part of items that have been pulled, I still want to make sure to give you the ability, if you would like to still share what you wanted to share. So having said that, we will start with Ms. Stone.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Our first speaker is Logan Lamance, and his item is 5A, NextGen.
Welcome.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Logan Lamance, founder and CEO of Kanga Coolers. So we're that company that started in a Clemson dorm room with a cooler that does not require ice. We somehow ended up on the TV show Shark Tank a couple of years ago and secured a deal with Mark Cuban. Since then, we've been growing like crazy, adding jobs, expanding our reach, and reinvesting in Greenville County every step of the way. NextGen has been a meaningful part of our journey. From the early days, they provided mentorship, guidance, and a network that helped us move from a scrappy startup to a sustainable business. I've been through their mentoring program, and I try to make it to about every event that they have, not because it helps us grow, but because it reminds me we're a part of something bigger. So over the last 8 years, we've created more than 15 full-time local jobs and 30 part-time jobs, generated over $35 million in revenue, and outgrown our warehouse 7 times. That has not been fun, moving 7 times. But we just moved again last year, and hopefully we'll be good for a little while. I live in Piedmont, which is Councilmember Rick Bradley's district, and our warehouse is in Kurt McGahey's district. But I'm not here just to talk about Kanga. I'm here to speak on behalf of the broader startup community in Greenville, because while our story gets a lot of attention, there are plenty of other founders grinding just as hard, chasing big ideas, and building real companies right here at home. Organizations like NextGen are a part of what makes that possible. They help create the environment that makes founders like us want to stay here, to build here, and to hire here. And that matters, not just to people like me, but to the economic future of Greenville County. So on behalf of myself, the Kanga team, and founders across the community, thank you. Thank you for your continued investment in organizations like NextGen. It's working. Let's keep the momentum going.
Thank you very much. Next item, Ms. Stone.
Our next speaker is Daniel Rumfelt, and his topic is item 16C, Greater Greenville Sanitation Geo Bonds.
Welcome, sir.
Thank you, Councilman. Since that agenda item was pulled, I go ahead and yield the rest of my time to the next speaker. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rumfeld.
Our next speaker is Ed Paxton, and his item is 16C, Greater Greenville Sanitation Geo Bond.
Welcome, Mr. Paxton.
I'm Ed Paxton. My mailing address is 1 York Circle, and I wholly agree with item 16C that Transfer House is visioned by Greater Greenville Sanitation in their bond numbers is not economical to the citizenry. It's a waste of the people's assets, and I wholly agree with the item on the agenda.
Thank you, Mr. Paxton. Ms. Stone?
Our next speaker is Phil Rabe, and his topic is item 16C, Greater Greenville Sanitation.
I'm going to yield as well.
Thank you very much. And if you want, I think it's appropriate. If you do want to yield, you can just put your hand up. That way you don't have to walk up to the podium, or you can either way. I don't want to keep anybody from exercise if you'd like to get some. Ms. Stone?
David Davis is our next speaker.
Welcome, Mr. Davis.
Good afternoon. Well, that's kind of exciting that we're not having this agenda, but I'm going to do my speech anyway. President Trump states how China and other countries are ripping the United States off. I say Greater Greenville Sanitation has ripped off Greenville County Council for years and is a reflection of many past votes with no accountability for GGS. I thank the ad hoc committee, and I do thank you all, for changing this last week's meeting, opening everyone's eyes to the monopoly that saddles 3 districts in Greenville County. We heard in their own words on subjects that continue to amaze me from the commissioners and the director of Greater Greenville. It was stated by GGS that they should be the overall collection company for Greenville County and showed no interest in the 68 private haulers, businesses, or employees. Approval of this appeal for $20 million bond will allow for hard questions on items like certified appraisals on properties, real cost to build, environmental studies, to mention just a few. This information is currently very vague, and the taxpayers deserve a better answer. It was stated that GGS does not solicit business outside the district at unfair advantage. You all have proof of this document you have received this week in letters. They told us how GGS will pick up abandoned cars, refrigerators, and much more if you place it at the curb. Is this truly the intended job of garbage pickup? Councilman Fant in the past noted that GGS, without GGS to pick up discarded furniture, more in his district, it would be a junkyard of debris on many properties. I say this is not GGS's job, but rather for the code department to levy fines for such habitual activity. Why should the taxpayers pay for delinquent property owners? GGS continues to make customers more dependent on them for service. This is wrong. I applaud the state legislature for finally investigating the practices of Greater Greenville Sanitation, and I support Bill H4003. Why should District 19, 23, and 25 taxes be raised for unclear reasons given to date by Greater Greenville Sanitation, their board, and their directors? Please fix these mistakes. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Davis. Ms. Stone?
Our last speaker is Mark Kingsberry, and his item is 16C, Greater Greenville Sanitation.
All right, I think we're passing on that one as well. So we will move on to the next agenda item, which is public hearings. We have the animal control ordinance amendments.
Mr. Chairman? Okay.
Councilor McGahee.
Item 7A, Animal Control and Ordinance Amendments. This public hearing is being held for the purpose of receiving comments from the public regarding an ordinance to amend Chapter 4 of the Greenville County Code of Ordinances regulating animal care in Greenville County.
Thank you. Ms. Stone?
Mr. Chairman, Mr. McGahee, we have 8 speakers in favor and 7 in opposition. Our first speaker is Barbara Wallally, in favor.
Welcome.
Thank you to each and every one of the council who has supported us through this animal welfare proposal journey. I planned to spend my 3 minutes lavishing praise over all of you, but that was before opposition direct from the American Kennel Club, or AKC, started popping up last week, right at the 11th hour. And I heard your members have been emailing and calling and requesting meetings with you, and they've had over a year to come and speak and come to these meetings in person. We have been coming here in the Public Communications Forum for over a year. I'd just like to state that again. I'd first like to state that the American Kennel Club, or AKC, regularly lobbies against basic animal welfare laws. including puppy mill cruelty. Anytime they catch wind of regulation of breeders, they guide their AKC members to oppose any kind of legislation, no matter how necessary or basic. This often creates hysteria among the AKC community, as you have seen now. Also, the American Kennel Club, or AKC, does not register breeders. They register individual dogs. AKC registration only verifies the pedigree of the dog, not the quality or the health, nor the responsible breeding practices of the breeder. Also, the AKC's role as a dog registry means that breeders who are found to be in violation of AKC standards can still breed and sell dogs without facing repercussions. So why is anyone listening to the AKC? Because the AKC doesn't want their individual dog registration dues compromised. Every individual puppy makes the AKC money. Breeding dogs is money-making machine both for the AKC and for the breeders. In addition, the American Kennel Club, or AKC, is urging exemption of hobby breeders from the breeding ordinance. The term hobby breeder is a rebranding term for backyard breeder. Hobby or backyard breeders should not be accepted from the proposal, and there is no question purebred dogs end up in the shelter. Per the Humane Society, 25% of animals in the shelters are purebred. Also, the care and keeping standards outlined in the current proposal for breeders are a very bare minimum. There are no longer requirements to have annual inspections when breeders register for free annually. So if anyone has come tonight to dispute unlawful search, you are mistaken. There is merely a basic standard of care and keeping for breeders in the proposal. Anyone buying a dog from a breeder should expect these very basic standards. Any reputable breeder fighting these basic standards should be asked what they are trying to hide. In addition, the proposal explicitly states that crates are not to be used for longer than 12 hours as a form of long-term housing. Anyone fighting the use of a crate for longer than 12 hours a day for long-term housing of their dogs has lost their mind. I'd like to close by stating that we have been at this for a year and a half. You've also seen countless advocates, including myself, speaking for over a year. We have the shelter here, we've got animal control, we've got all of these advocates here in red, and this is all you need to know, that the community wants this and we need this. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Wallally.
Our next speaker is Anna Goette. Next speaker is Anna Goette.
Welcome, Ms. Goette.
Good evening. My name is Anna Goette, 5 Kamer Avenue, Greenville, 29605. I'm a concerned Greenville County resident here today to speak in strong support of the proposed animal welfare ordinances, especially the minimum standards of care for pet breeders. My dog Marley, formerly Missouri, was on the euthanasia list at Greenville County Animal Care in August 2024 simply because the shelter was overcrowded. She came in with 16 other dogs about a week before I adopted her. These dogs were seized by animal control after their breeder racked up thousands of dollars in unpaid fines. This wasn't his first offense. He had already been arrested in 2022 and again in 2024. Tragically, half of the dogs had to be euthanized due to serious health issues and behavioral problems caused by severe neglect and lack of socialization. According to multiple local news reports at the time, the dogs were found crated, covered in their own feces, without proper veterinary care or a clean environment. The conditions they were kept in led directly to the suffering and death of many of them. Volunteers and advocates fought hard to save the few dogs that could be rehabilitated, but most were too far gone. Marley's sibling, Alabama, was so traumatized she wouldn't make eye contact with the shelter staff and just shook at the back of her kennel. She was saved in the final hours before her scheduled euthanasia. When I brought Marley home, she was 2 years old and completely emaciated, every bone showing. She was terrified, especially of men. It took weeks before she could even look at my husband. She's come a long way, but the trauma still lingers. She's sweet, affectionate, and just wants to be loved, but the way she guards food and resources is heartbreaking, a direct result of her mistreatment by an irresponsible breeder. I'm sharing Marley and her sibling's story because it highlights exactly why we need stronger regulations for breeders in Greenville County. If ordinances like the one we're proposing had already been in place, tracking and enforcing breeder accountability, those dogs might never have suffered. They might still be alive. Right now, breeders like the one who neglected those 17 dogs can continue operating without being held accountable. Without a clear standard of care, we're failing the most vulnerable animals in our community. This ordinance isn't asking for much. It simply requires breeders to register with the county for free and meet basic standards: food, clean water, shelter, and vet care. There are no invasive inspections unless there's a serious complaint, no new zoning restrictions, no limits on how many dogs someone can own, breed, or show. Frankly, anyone who opposes this ordinance should raise serious concerns for everyone in this room. Backyard or hobby breeding in the U.S. contributes to major problems. Dogs from backyard or hobby breeders are over 40% more likely to develop serious health problems due to poor breeding, lack of vet care, and no socialization, just like Marley and her siblings. One of my biggest concerns is that there's even any opposition to this proposal. This ordinance doesn't ban breeding, it doesn't restrict breeders or show dogs, it just ensures animals are treated humanely. I'm here because I adopted Marley and I know what she went through. I know what her siblings endured. I can't stay silent while this continues to happen over and over to hundreds of thousands of dogs in a place I love and call home. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
The next speaker is Robert Chapman.
Mr. Chapman, welcome.
Thank you, council members, for your time. I'm at 109 Percy Avenue in Greenville. I wanted to talk today primarily about the financial strain that this is putting on the county as a taxpayer and a lifelong resident. I'm not against breeding. I think we probably would like to make a distinction between like the responsible breeders. The irresponsible breeders aren't coming to county meetings, I would guess. That's just, I don't know. Nothing against you guys. We've all heard horror stories. We've all heard everything that's going on. And, you know, it falls on us, the taxpayers, the council, animal care, animal control, to take care of this. Like if you have a breeder out there making 2 litters a year, 6 to 8 dogs, they sell 3 or 4 of them, they dump the rest. They're neglected, they're malnourished, they're abused. It falls on us to like pay for this and take care of this. And this is a problem that I think we could at least try to fix or slow down at the source. We've heard all these stories. You guys don't need to hear any more about this from me, but like I said, we kind of end up paying for this. And so I work in healthcare, actually in liver transplant, and I had to go to school, and I got to maintain a state license. And we do this because you want to go, when you go to talk to the guy about a liver transplant, you want to know that he knows what he's talking about. And there are a lot of quack doctors out there once upon a time who, you know, were treating with leeches and vapors and things. The pilots, the lawyers, I don't know what everybody here does for a living, but you guys know, like, there's a reason this is in place. And there's nothing against you guys. There's a lot of quack breeders out there who are doing a very bad job at this and are giving all of you a bad name. You guys know, again, you don't need me to repeat it. So it's just kind of one of those things that's easier to treat at the source. If we can slow this down, even if you can curb intake a little bit in animal care, it's going to make a huge difference for them. It's going to just help immensely. So if this just slows it down, if this stems it even a little bit, I think this is going to help immensely. It's the old saying is that it's an ounce of prevention is worth more than a pound of cure. So I'll yield the rest of my time. I appreciate everybody's attention. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Ms. Stone?
Mr. Chairman, the next speaker is Angela, and I apologize, I cannot read your last name.
I'm curious what it is.
It's Jaswind. My name is Angela Jaswind. I live in 424 Rangeview Circle in Greenville. I'm the founder and director of Carolina Loving Hound Rescue. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to speak to you this evening. I'm going to keep it under 3 minutes this time. So, my organization has received several emails and phone calls in the last couple of days telling me to stay in my lane, to focus on rescuing dogs, and to stay out of the breeding lane, which is kind of ironic because with the passing of the basic care ordinance, rescuers wouldn't be needed as much as they are now. We wouldn't need to help local shelters manage overpopulation caused by unnecessary and reckless breeding. I personally could save our supporters over $200,000 a year. If you care for your dogs properly, The ordinance will not affect you. If you have nothing to hide and you are not stacking your breeding dogs in tiny crates in your garage or basements, this will not interfere with your business. I don't understand why anyone would oppose basic care standards. Annual vaccinations should be the norm. They prevent diseases. That protects all of Greenville citizens. Most hobby and backyard breeders do not follow the basic care to prevent inbreeding or adhere to ethical breeding standards. This is clear by the dogs that end up in our shelters, subsequently in our rescue. Lack of basic housing leaves these dogs with severe conditions such as urine burns, chewed off limbs, prolapsed uterus after birth, maggots in wounds. I know that sounds horrible. Look at those photos. Those are examples of what I'm speaking of. This is what I live every day. I take care of those animals. I'm not just up here with hyperbole sharing some graphic horror story that's on TV. This is reality. This is what happens when there are no basic care standards. The AKC has in their mission statement that they are pushing the advancement of canine health and well-being of animals. How does breeding a dog with 2 legs help the breed standard? I have 2 dogs at home that were bred that only have back legs. They don't have front legs. They came from a breeder, a registered breeder here in Greenville County, okay? I have 9 dogs in my house right now I have taken care of for the last 9 years that were bred here in Greenville. If you're doing the right thing, you should be on my side. You love your animals, you should be on our side. This is for the animals. That's all I've got.
The next speaker is Shantel Hambrecht.
Welcome.
I'm Shantel Hambrecht. I live in Simpsonville, and I moved to Greenville from Holland last October. Before I start, I want to extend my sincere gratitude to each council member for giving us the opportunity to be heard tonight, for creating this space where change is not only possible, but welcomed. When I arrived in Greenville and began settling into this community, I was met with warmth and kindness, but very soon I became painfully aware of the heartbreaking issue of the overwhelming number of animals and the shelters struggling to cope, forced to euthanize healthy, innocent animals simply because there's no room. Every day, social media is filled with desperate posts from nonprofits and compassionate individuals, pleas for pet food, for fosters, for adopters. The cycle feels endless. Animals continue to reproduce, and unregistered breeders add to the crisis. Puppies and kittens are being abandoned everywhere if they cannot be sold. It was so distressing to see this multiple times a day. Then this ordinance appeared, a glimmer of hope in what felt like an unending dark tunnel. In Holland, it is virtually impossible to buy an animal because of the strict laws. There's rigorous paperwork, heavy fines for non-compliance, and firm requirements for breeders. Animal control is not optional. It is proactive and enforced. I volunteered at a local Dutch shelter. In all my time there, we had only 2 resident animals. Only 2. Yes, it's a smaller country, which makes regulation easier. But more importantly, it's a mindset. Animals are valued. As a taxpayer, it is concerning that this giant influx of dogs have to be picked up by animal control and then processed by the shelter, whether euthanized or just housed for a little while. Citizens need to stop looking at animal shelters as dump-off zones for their pets, and they need to have better oversight when they buy their animals from breeders so we don't have such giant numbers of unwanted animals out there, often ill cared for and sick. When breeders don't care for animals, they get seized in huge numbers by the shelter, and this is unheard of where I'm from. America's scale is much larger, of course. If we recognize that every animal's life matters, we can build the legal framework to support this belief, and slowly we can begin to shift the societal narrative. What I miss in the structure of the Netherlands, I found in the spirit of the community here in Greenville. I've never witnessed such passion and dedication as I have among the people here. People like Barbara, Kirsty, Gwen, Star, Harlow, and countless others advocating and advertising tirelessly to get these animals a safe haven. They do this day after day with no recognition and no reward, desperate for a solution to this problem that needs to change. So thank you, council members, for listening and for taking action. Greenville has the opportunity to become a beacon of hope, a model for other counties and even states. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. And I did want to publicly acknowledge that we do have a medical event of some kind going on in the back of the room, but I didn't want to stop the meeting and so they can have their space to do that. But for anybody who prays, this would be a perfect opportunity to say a prayer for what's going on there, and we'll continue unless we need to stop again.
Mr. Chairman, the next speaker is Daniel Dusa.
Welcome.
Thank you. I saw you looking over that way, so I had to go take a peek. Sorry, I'm old. I got to change glasses.
It's okay.
Speak into the microphone. Is this better? Okay. My name is Daniel Dusa, and I reside on Oliver Scotts Mill Road in the very southern part of Greenville County. I have devoted 31 years of my life to the animal care and control profession and retired as the director of a county animal services department in 2020, luckily right before COVID hit. I've also served on the board of directors for the National Animal Care and Control Association and the California Animal Welfare Association. As such, I believe that I have the training and experience to speak on the proposed ordinances. Well, I sent you all an email. I apologize for late Sunday night, exploring my position, and I want to thank Ms. Long for a very timely response. I was surprised. As to the minimum, in that email I explained what my arguments were and what my rebuttals were. As to the minimum space requirements, the existing code of Greenville County is extremely subjective, as an officer must take into consideration three factors: the animal's age, the animal's size, the animal's breed. At what age does the space requirement increase? Do we say if it's a 6-month dog, you get more footage? And if it's a Labradoodle, which breed do you follow for the size requirements? And everything's a doodle nowadays. The proposed ordinance removes the subjectiveness of this and basically just lines it strictly on the weight of the dog. I know there was questions that a 50-pound bulldog gets the same space as a 120-pound Great Dane. Both of those sizes work for both of those breeds. That's why that range that they have there is a good suggestion. People also may speak tonight about restrictions on crating a dog for more than 12 hours. I think everybody here agrees no one should crate a dog for more than 12 hours. Kennel clubs wouldn't do that, nor would a member of the public. I hear a duck. I don't have ducks in my speech tonight. I also fully support the prohibition of selling dogs and cats in the flea market and swap meets. In my profession, I saw way too many animals that were sold being too young to be taken from their mother, very sick. Someone would shell out $500 in the parking lot, take it home, and the animal would crash and most likely die even after having thousands of dollars spent. As for the cost of care, in my agency, we seized countless animals, provided outstanding care that we never got recouped from the owners, even through court restitutions. So having the owners bear responsibility for that during this process is a benefit to the animal shelter, it's a benefit to Greenville County financially. And I think that's really it. I do support the proposal as written. I hope that you folks approve it as well for the sake of the animals, the people, and the general overall community. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
The next speaker is Jane Swan.
Welcome, Ms. Swan.
Hi, my name is Jane Swan and I reside at Duncan Chapel Road, Greenville. I'd like to thank everyone for the opportunity to speak here today. I would like to summarise data from 2024 in relation to animal welfare in Greenville County. In 2024, Greenville County continued to experience a population growth at an average of 1.47%, according to Greenville County statistical information. Greenville County Shelter is an open admission shelter. The sheer volume of animals that enter the shelter is enormous, which ultimately results in some animals being euthanized. In 2024, Greenville County Animal Care received a total of 10,820 dogs and cats. 6,327 were dogs and 4,493 were cats. 1,331 animals were euthanized due to a variety of reasons. The shelter needs to have a 90% save rate to achieve a no-kill status. For 2024, 6% more dogs were euthanized over the no-kill status. This translates to 1 in 6 dogs not leaving the shelter once they enter. In order to return to a no-kill status, 632 less dogs would have to be euthanized a year, or 53 less dogs euthanized per month, or 12 less dogs euthanized per week. There's a growing need for change from the local community to improve animal welfare in Greenville County, to reduce the population of unwanted dogs and to lower the euthanasia rates. The 3 new animal welfare ordinances will help to facilitate this change, which are correct pet identification with either an identification tag or a microchip, breeder business registration to prevent dogs being sold at jockey lots and flea markets and to establish a minimum standard of care for all dogs, and the cost of care bill, which helps to reduce the number of dogs being held at the shelter for unnecessary lengths of time. The Animal Legal Defence Fund shared its findings from their 2024 Animal Welfare Ranking Report by state, and South Carolina received the recognition as the most improved state. They previously ranked at 47 out of 50 states in 2023, now ranked at 40 out of 50, but we still have a long way to go. This significant improvement was largely due to the cost of care bill passed by South Carolina state legislature in May 2024. Thank you. I yield my time.
Thank you very much.
Our next speaker is Tyler Cole.
Welcome, Mr. Cole.
Thank you. I'd like to start off by listing a few dogs that are in jeopardy of being euthanized currently at Greenville County Animal Shelter. We have Tigger, who loves playing fetch and will bring the ball right back to you and drop it at your feet, and you don't even have to ask him for it. We also have Ariel, Rose Petal, Roxy, Evie, and Sable. All 6 of these dogs have been at the shelter for a month or 2. They're all great dogs. We've had them out with volunteers, played with them, and they definitely deserve homes. There's definitely not a need to continue bringing dogs into Greenville County and breeding them. You've met with, first of all, thank you guys also for meeting with us for the last year and a half. We appreciate all the work you guys have done in amending and getting the ordinances to where they're at now. We've worked with the Greenville Shelter, as well as the Humane Society of South Carolina to get the ordinances to where they are now. We're not showing up last minute to make changes. So we've had plenty of time to work these minor details out, and I agree that this is probably not going to be the fix-all tonight, but it is a paving stone in the future for Greenville County. It's not going to be the end-all, and you'll probably continue to see us. But I think tonight is an opportunity for all of you guys to create history for Greenville County. As mentioned, we have a lot of counties that are watching us tonight, as well as different people from outside of the state, and they're asking, why would we not pass this? There's no reason we should not pass this. This is basic requirements. And some of the opposition have said that small businesses will be affected because they're not able to afford or stay in business due to these ordinances. If they're not able to meet basic standards to create a safe environment for their animals, they should probably not be breeding and should be out of business anyways. So I won't take up the whole time, but I want to thank you guys again for meeting with us the last year, as well as thank you for all the rescues, volunteers. A lot of us are not being paid for this time that we spend working with animals. We're doing this out of the own kindness of our hearts, and we want to make sure that we provide a better, safer community for Greenville County animals. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Chairman, our first speaker in opposition to the proposed is Robert Vandiver.
Welcome, sir.
Thank you for allowing me to speak to you. My name is Robert Vandiver. I belong to the Greenville Kennel Club. I'm the delegate to the AKC. I'm a breeder. I'm going to tell you what my breeding program is. We had our first litter 50 years ago. Over 50 years, we've had 16 litters. That averages to 1 litter every 3 years. We produced 95 dogs. 35 of them have become champions. A lot of them have become have obedience titles. A lot of them have had performance titles. We are serious breeders. Our dogs are not in the pound. There's an old saying about if you want to make $1 million showing dogs, start with $2 million. We don't make a profit. It's all cost. It's a hobby. But we do some good things. One of the things that we do is we partnered with the Sheriff's Department, K-9 team. We purchased 3 dogs for $25,000 for the K-9 team. Those 3 dogs have been deployed over 10,000 times. 3 dogs. They've been involved in 565 arrests. They seized over 100 pounds of marijuana, cocaine, heroin, and meth. They seized over $500,000 in cash. 2 of these dogs are still in service. They still got a long ways to go. Imagine the value these dogs bring. And these are all furnished by Greenville Kennel Club. That's not all. We spent an additional $20,000 for professional trainers to come in and teach our officers how to better train their dogs. They brought in people to do simulations on how do you handle a car chase with a dog, and what do you do when it lands? What do you do if you have a hostage negotiation? There are all kinds of situations that they deal with that these guys need to be trained with. We funded that. We bought ballistics vests for all the canine officers. The county didn't supply them. We did. I believe the county is now supplying some. We provided a legal seminar to bring our officers up to speed on what you do if you're deploying a dog. What can you do? What can you do legally? The lieutenant that's in charge of this, Lieutenant Cannon, told me, he said, that is one of the best seminars we've ever had. It was very useful, and we'd like to do it again. So, already?
Mr. Chairman, can I suspend the rules to ask the gentleman a question?
Yeah, I think it would be hard to I think we should just allow the citizens to kind of speak on the merits of whatever they have to share.
Okay, understand. The question I was going to ask is, how would this affect? No, I'm not asking him.
Let's
personal privilege.
I'm gonna rule that down and say let's move forward and continue to listen to everybody's public comments.
Okay.
Please.
Yeah, I'd like to know why people.
Mr. Shaw.
I would like to know how this would affect. Please give us information.
Chairman, our next speaker is Sharon Smith.
Thank you
Please
very
give
much.
us information on how this would affect
Councilor
you.
Shaw, you're out of order.
Hi, my name is Sharon Smith. I'm a breeder of Labrador Retrievers and also part of the AKC Patriotic Puppy program. My dogs have service dogs for veterans that have lost one particular man who lost his leg. Everybody else in his was in his troop were killed except him. I have one's working in Ohio. It's a service dog for mentally handicapped kids. The last one I just delivered was for a 6-year-old girl who has severe anxiety, and also dogs working for alcohol and firearms and tobacco. I just want to share some positive things about the AKC to you. Greenville Kennel Club is under the umbrella of the American Kennel Club. We do believe the AKC is dedicated to the sport of purebred dogs and breeding for type and function. The American Kennel Club has spent over $76 million on research through their Canine Health Foundation, and this is a great resource for dog owners, vets, and breeders. AKC Reunite is also dedicated to lifetime recovery of microchipped and tattoo dogs. There have been 460,000 pets that have been reunited, and if your dog doesn't have a permanent identification, you can get a tag through AKC or a collar. AKC has a disaster relief trailer, and the Greenville Kennel Club purchased one of these several years ago. It was over $10,000 and donated it to Greenville County, and this is deployed to a disaster area. It has crates, food, bowls, anything that they would need to help the dogs. GKC recently donated $10,000 to the hurricane relief. The Patriotic Puppy Program started, and that is to start breeding dogs in the United States to help the need that we have, because they've been getting dogs from other countries, over 50,000 of them. So the Patriotic Puppy was started by the American Kennel Club. And as far as breeding with us and our Greenville people here, we sell our puppies on spayed and neuter contracts. We also sell them on limited registration. That means you can't take one of my puppies. You cannot breed them and register them. And that is a way to protect our breed and to protect our lines. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Our next speaker is Nancy Conisman.
Welcome.
Thank you, Council. First, I'd like to address all that you do as a 30-plus year, what I call preservation breeder. I agree, there are horrific breeders out there, horrific situations, horrific things. A lot of this bill, I applaud you for. Okay. Now, I've been breeding over 30 years. I've never had a dog go to rescue. My contract, number one, I don't advertise to sell my dogs. There's no need. For 30 years, my puppies basically go to homes who've known me for 30 years. I'm on my 7th generation of service dog, therapy dog, pause for reading dogs. Air Force guy who broke his back has a mobility dog. That dog's the best trained thing I've ever seen. We are not your enemy. We agree, you know? So there are what I call preservation breeders. There are things in here.
One second, I'm sorry. Can we pause the time? Councilor Tripp?
I think both sides have been respectful at this point, but I think they need to address their comments to us so that there's not a back and forth.
Stand corrected.
Well, and just to be clear, and some people may not know the process of addressing council, just address the comments to council, and then that way we won't have any kind of back and forth, please.
Also, that thank you was to you for your hard work on this bill.
Thank you.
There are a couple things, though. In Greenville Kennel Club, as well as Anatolian Shepherd Dog Club of America, as well as AKC, you have to sign a code of conduct to be a breeder, okay? I spearheaded this, and it's right in there. Our dogs are not to be put in shelters, you know, unless it is approved by the Kennel Club for that placement, or the breed club. The breed clubs have their own rescues, most of them. Our dogs are not winding up in shelter, okay? Now, as far as stacking crates, I agree. At the dog shows, to go to Greenville Kennel Club Dog Show, the breeders of little dogs, not me, because mine wouldn't fit in a crate, they do stack them for transport in and out. This bill would make it where PETA could come in, and they've been after breeders for a million years, and could say that we have to be arrested for transporting them in and out of the Kennel Club. for the dog shows. Just asking for some consideration here for us preservation breeders. The backyard breeders don't have to sign a code of conduct, okay? Also, as far as rabies inoculation, I agree completely. But there's also a thing called titers, which you probably don't want to get into, where you draw blood to see if the dog is covered for no rabies. In the era of too much inoculation in humans and dogs, I think that's important. Go after, please, I don't think they should be sold at a 4-H thing unless it's a cow or a pig or a chicken. Cats and dogs, no. That way, a disreputable breeder could be getting one of those dogs and being part of the problem. We're not the problem. We want to be part of the solution. And I had put in amendments I'd like to address in writing to all of you guys. Please consider it.
Thank you very much.
The next speaker is Bob Conisman.
Welcome, sir.
Thank you. Thank you for your hard work. I've seen and read all of it. I agree with some of it, but until you live it, from the beginning of time, God has created and man has destroyed. And it's going on today. We need to do something about these puppy mills, absolutely. But we can't punish the whole world just for a section of people that are doing wrong. It would be like taking all the guns in the world away, because you have to have a permit to have a gun, but those doing wrong don't have permits. The same with these. Yes, we need the laws, but in reading the law number 1, I have to move because I have 3 dogs. I have to move because I can't get a license where I live because it's not set up to be licensed. So I got to move out of the county, move somewhere else if I want to keep my 3 dogs. We breed? Not really, maybe once every 3-4 years. We don't make money. We've already spent over $3,000-$4,000 and the breedings did not take. We don't breed to make money. We breed to preserve the animals and to show. Though I am a pastor, I show dogs at Greenville Kennel Club. There's people from all over the country come and show their dogs. The whole county benefits from that by millions of dollars. And the county gets a lot of that tax money. And I think that this is good, but there should be a statement in there that these items should be exempt. You can't have, when you go to a show, you can't have things hanging on the collar of a dog. These are show dogs. They're also pets. If people took care of their children as well as we take care of our pets, we would have a great nation. Okay? We spend thousands. My dogs take as many vitamins as I do. They go to the doctor more than I do. Okay? Because we care about them. We love them. And this is the idea of the Kennel Club. If we find somebody in the Kennel Club that's doing wrong with dogs, they're no longer a member. Anybody can get a license to do anything today. So those that are licensed doesn't mean a thing. Those that are true do.
Thank you, sir.
The next speaker is Keith Butler.
Mr. Butler? All right. I think that, oh, here we go. Did we get it wrong, or is it a different name?
My name is Keith Butler.
Oh, there you go.
322 Lions Drive.
You didn't know you were speaking, and now you're sharing.
I did not know I was speaking, but I've never been for a loss for words either, so I'm okay. And So anyways, I have not been a breeder as long as a lot of these great people that I know from the Kennel Club have been. But I can tell you, since I'm don't have anything prepared or anything, I'm going to tell you my experience with it, okay? I went to a dog show because my wife couldn't be around dogs because of the dander and everything. So we went to a dog show, and she fell in love with these little dogs about this big called beaver terriers. Has anybody ever heard of a beaver terrier? Not that I know of. They're about this big, and they're kind of new to America. But anyways, we do not make any money from breeding these dogs, okay? From the time we take them to dog shows, and by the time we take them to the vet, by the time we feed them, by the time we do all the stuff for them, we owe money. We love our dogs. Our dogs are, just as important to us as our kids almost. And that's what our kids tell us sometimes too. You love your dogs more than you do us. And while it's not true, we do love our dogs. I, for one, I agree with most of the stuff I've heard tonight. I'm not going to sit here and say I disagree with everything. I agree with a lot of the things that they've said. And something needs to happen. But the thing that I would like to see happen is communication between everybody. We didn't know about this. That may be my fault, maybe our fault, that we didn't know about all this going on until it was too late. But I would like to work with you guys, and I would like to work with them, because we're not the enemy. I want this to be an inclusive thing. To stop one thing, there's some things in this ordinance that are going to be unintentional consequences to us that follow the law, follow our heart, and do the right thing, and follow God. And there's going to be consequences to us and to our dogs. And I'm going to be the first one not to go my whole time, so I'm going to leave it with 23 seconds.
Thank you very much.
The next speaker is Michael Kilgore.
Welcome, sir.
Good evening, Michael Kilgore, 11 Waccamaw Avenue. Ms. Seaman is my council person. I have been involved with Shetland sheepdogs for 50 years. My deceased mother and I have now had 22 of them. Every one of them was purchased or adopted via contract. And I can't say definitively, but I think every one of them, of the contracts, involved a provision that if the dog was going to be given up, it would be returned to the breeder rather than going to the pound. I've also been involved with rescue operations. When I was living in Georgia temporarily, I was involved with Sheltie Rescue of Georgia. That is an organization that will go as far as Mississippi to Tennessee into South Carolina in order to pick up a dog or dogs that appear in a county facility. They will take the dogs, they will home the dogs, but before they place the dogs, they will go through a routine of evaluating the dogs, and then 6 weeks later, the dogs are released to be adopted. There is two tracks of adoption. One is specialty dogs. There is a rescue organization that coincides with the breed. I'm also a member of the upstate-based Shetland Sheepdog Club of Spartanburg. But there is a rescue organization that's based out of south of Charlotte. There's another one in western North Carolina, in Georgia. The issue that has not been presented tonight is the registration of the rescue organizations, because if you require prior registration before you can do business with them, that really cuts the knees out of the organization. For instance, if say, 8 shelties appeared in the Greenville shelter. Maybe once every couple of years, there would be a reason to call a rescue organization in. But none of those organizations are going to routinely be registered with the county, and therefore the county can't deal with them. So these specialized breed rescue programs are the ones who take the dogs out of the shelters very quickly, and they're not part of the population. And this ordinance, as it is written, is kneecapping the ability of specialty rescue organizations to come in and help the county. My time is up. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much.
The last speaker is Debbie Kaplan.
Welcome, Ms. Kaplan.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Debbie Kaplan. I'm the president of Greenville Kennel Club. And I hope that you'll consider breeders from the Kennel Club. And these guys are right. I mean, there's people out there that do horrible things. I can't even wrap my head around putting that many dogs down every year. So if there's anything that we can do to stop those people, we would like to help and be part of the solution. But we're not those people. We're not anything like those people. We genetically test our dogs. The AKC does have a registry for breeders. It's called Breeder of Merit, that you have to test your dogs. There's a whole list of things that you have to do just to be qualified as a Breeder of Merit. It's through the AKC. But I hope you will consider that we are not like some of these people that they're talking about. As far as the Kennel Club goes, we bring a lot of money into Greenville. I think Bob's already talked about what we do for the police force. Our show alone in July, we have 4 shows, brings in over $2.5 million that weekend. Hotels, restaurants, gas, Walmart, all that's tax. That's a lot of money. And that's, the convention center, we've paid them over $600,000 in the last 10 years. And that's not counting parking. They get $10 a day per car for parking there. That's a lot of money. We support 4-H kids. We try to bring people into our sport. Showing dogs, you might not know, is actually the 2nd oldest sport in the country, only to horse racing. So it's been around for a long time. We love our dogs, like everybody here said. We want to continue doing this. And we want to be part of the solution, not the problem. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, we are going to, does that conclude the speakers, Ms. Stone? We'll move to item B, public hearings, Greenville County Library budget millage request. Councilor Collins.
Give me 1 minute here. I got to locate under my papers. Bueller. Thank you for that, Mr. Administrator. All right, Greenville County Library Budget Millage Request, item 7B. This public hearing is being held for the purpose of receiving comments from the public regarding an ordinance to approve the appropriation of funds for the Greenville County Library System for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2025 and ending June 30, 2026, and to authorize the annual ad valorem property tax millage for library purposes.
Thank you, Councilor Collins. Ms. Stone?
Mr. Chairman, we have 5 speakers in opposition. The first is Emily Sinkman.
Welcome.
Hi, thank you for allowing me to speak today.
I'm Emily Chinquamani, a proud Greenville native and supporter of the Greenville County Library System, sorry. I live at 117 North Franklin Road. I'm here to urge the council to pass the library budget with the original March 11th wage proposal. When reviewing the South Carolina State Library statistics, I learned that despite the fact that it serves the largest population in South Carolina, the Greenville County Library lags behind Richland, Charleston, and Spartanburg County in budget per capita. As we've already heard from library employees in previous meetings, this budget severely affects staffing, which plays a critical role in the library system. Our libraries have high turnover rates due to low pay. We need to be able to attract and keep quality applicants in library positions rather than waste taxpayer money to pay to replace them. I also want to emphasize that libraries are a critical resource to our community. The most recent Gallup poll of American leisure activities, published in 2019, found going to the library to be the most common cultural activity Americans engage in. Americans go to the library on average about once a month. This poll shows that Americans visit the library more frequently than they go to the movies or to live sporting events. Groups that highly frequented the library in this poll included women, young adults, and low-income households. To bridge the gap in time between 2019 and post-COVID, a 2023 Library Insights survey from the Urban Libraries Council found that digital lending soared between 2019 and 2022, and although in-person visits were low during the pandemic, in-person visits and programming are now rebounding. It doesn't make sense to take funding away from such a highly used and valued resource. I have one more study, a 2019 study published in Public Library Quarterly, which examined 10 years of data in our neighboring state, North Carolina. This study found that the per capita print book circulation libraries provide in a community has a statistically significant effect on that community's level of educational attainment, per capita and median household income, and number of jobs, all factors that directly contribute to quality of life. Greenville is a great place to live, and we are constantly working to make it a better and more attractive place for residents and businesses. This case study shows that support for the library is not only in line with, but essential to the shared goals we have for Greenville. I personally have had a small side business tutoring students in college essay writing, helping them to get accepted into multiple universities like the University of South Carolina Honors College, to name one example. And I've done much of this tutoring in study rooms at the library because it's a space that's free, safe, in person, and well-equipped for educational purposes. There is no other space that meets all of these requirements. I do have copies of all of the sources I cited to submit along with my comments to the clerk. Please support the residents of Greenville County by supporting our libraries. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Dawn?
The next speaker is Corinne Shuford.
Welcome, Ms. Shuford.
Hi, I'm Corinne. Mountains of knowledge have been lost over the centuries. What we know about times before written knowledge, we know through guesswork artifacts and the odd third-hand account. Entire cultures have been lost because they relied on oral tradition to pass their stories, histories, and language, but oral tradition only works if there are people left to carry its burden. Once the written word was invented, it became something of a status symbol. Only the elite could read, and the common folk were forced to rely on their betters to tell them what knowledge books hid between their pages. The worst game of telephone ever. It was an information desert. In the age of the internet, we suffer from a different problem, a surplus of information from all over the world. Looking for an answer on the internet can be just as overwhelming as trying to drink from a fire hose to quench your thirst. Mixed results. Worse, only a portion of the internet is credible. There are questionable sources, opinion pieces. One source was hacked and rewritten by some high school student. The writer didn't cite his work. If you aren't skilled at research or picking up on biases, then you are up an overflowing creek without a paddle. In college, I related to that feeling. I didn't have time to sift through the breadth of the World Wide Web to find pieces of information to support my theses. I had no resources to pay for scholarly sites that concealed articles behind a paywall. Thankfully, my college's librarians had my back. They looked up vetted resources for me to utilize and helped me find them. They even showed me how to use my student email to get free accounts on all those scholarly websites. These librarians cared and they wanted me to succeed. Even better, they constantly updated their catalog to keep abreast of society's information influx. In the words of Linton Weeks, in the nonstop tsunami of global information, librarians provide us with floaties and teach us to swim. God commanded us to be good stewards, and there are very few professions that adhere to that command as well as librarians do. In an age of fake news, Photoshop AI-generated content, truth can seem subjective. Librarians ensure it isn't. They preserve and curate the hard-won knowledge of our culture. Librarians work tirelessly to preserve and educate for about $15 an hour. That's not even enough to purchase a hardback book. Please remember the importance of libraries when determining budgets and making funding cuts. Libraries deserve to be funded and protected, and librarians deserve to be fairly compensated for all the incredible work that they do to preserve literature, history, scientific resources, and more. Libraries are our history. They should be part of our future.
Thank you very much.
The next speaker is Lauren Conley.
Welcome.
My name is Lauren Conley, and I live in District 21. Last meeting, I spoke to the council about the benefits of the library, its funding compared to other counties, and the financial realities that library employees face. While I personally believe that these are reason enough to pass the original budget and provide pay increases, I am familiar with the reality that when it comes to money, sometimes you have to make difficult decisions about where finances and limited resources can be spent. The council has largely run on a platform of fiscal responsibility and transparency in government budgets. Taxpayers work hard, and they deserve to know where the money they put into the system is going and that it is spent effectively. I admit, the yearly increase in staff expenditures found in the original budget proposal looks intimidating without context. But what is more fiscally responsible? Maintaining educated and dedicated workers, or continually spending money on hiring and training new staff who are likely to quit when the job doesn't cover their monthly expenses? While numbers vary, studies overwhelmingly agree that it costs more to replace an employee than it does to keep one. This means that keeping trained employees is vital to maintaining a conservative budget, but the library isn't doing that. Monthly turnover rate has doubled in the past few years, and the overwhelming majority of the people who are leaving over pay. Replacing staff at this rate isn't efficient, and it isn't sustainable. Application rates have plummeted to a quarter of what they used to be. The jobs aren't being filled, and it's not because people don't want to work them. In the branch that I work at, there are 6 full-time employees, and in the past month alone, I've heard 5 of them say some version of, "I don't want to quit, but I don't know how I can afford to stay." Every library interview is conducted by a panel of 3 employees who compare notes afterwards to come to a consensus on the best candidate. Once an employee is hired, they attend a 2-day orientation and are given a crash course on the basics of library work. After that, they have to complete at least 20 hours of additional training. Every new employee represents a minimum of 53 hours of labor that could have been spent providing programs and services instead of hiring someone who, no matter how good of an employee they are, will not have the same experience and lived knowledge as someone who has worked in the system for years. In the past year alone, the library has had a 20% turnover rate, losing 40 employees since last May. That's 2,120 hours of labor that is unnecessarily being directed towards replacing employees instead of the critical services that the library provides. Please approve a budget that provides a livable wage. It's the fiscally responsible thing to do. I yield the rest of my time.
Thank you very much.
The next speaker is Heather Shockey.
Welcome.
My name is Heather Shockey, and I live in District 19. I've been with the library for almost 20 years. Tonight, I want to share some numbers. $1.44. That's how much the proposed library millage cut will save me on my yearly tax bill. You get that number by multiplying the amount of your taxes given to the library by 0.0625. So even if you live in a $500,000 house, this millage cut saves you less than $10 a year. Is this tiny personal savings worth what our library and community could lose? I have another number for you, $45 a month. That's roughly the extra an average hourly library worker might see with the proposed 3% raise. And that's before accounting for our increased insurance cost. At the last county council meeting, I shared that 70% of our staff are hourly and none of them make a living wage. A living wage just covers essentials, rent, utility, food, and transportation. On average, our hourly staff are $900 short of that living wage each month. So you can see why this 3% is barely a drop in the bucket. The original budget proposed on March 11th doesn't get us to a living wage. It doesn't even pay the same as other similar county employee wages, but it does get us closer. The recommended raises may seem high to some, but they were based on two sound independent factors. First, a 2023 wage study showed library pay was significantly behind other libraries in the Southeast and even similar county jobs. So the March 11th budget include raises, which brings pay up to those 2023 rates. Second, that budget includes an employee cost of index raise, which is based on our board-approved compensation plan. That ECI is vital to account for the 2 years since the wage study. Otherwise, staff are behind again before they even start. After years of being fiscally conservative and underpaying library employees, the library has a $5 million reserve balance. So then why can't the library use about $1 million of it to bring salaries up to the market rate? This has been vexing me. But when I listen to the recorded board meetings, some point that our county may not increase raises at all. Very quickly, it's one thing to underpay people when you don't know how much they should be paid or when we are in a recession, but neither of those conditions exist now. I ask that you please pass the March 11th budget. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Last speaker is Shanna Raines.
Welcome.
Good evening, council members. My name is Shanna Raines, and I serve as an employee of the Greenville County Library System, and I'm a proud member of the Sans Souci community. Tonight, I urge you to support the original library budget proposal submitted by our executive director and accounting manager on March 11th to the library's finance committee, which included crucial wage increases for our dedicated library staff. I want to thank you for taking the time to review this original proposal as requested at the last council meeting. As many of you know, libraries are more than buildings filled with books. They are trusted spaces for learning, job searching, community connection, and much more. But behind every service we offer is a staff member making it possible. And right now, the people who form the foundation of our library system are struggling. A 2023 wage study confirmed what we already felt. Our staff are significantly underpaid, not just in comparison to other library systems, but even relative to other county positions. And in the time since that study was completed, the cost of living has only gone up. The original budget proposal included a 4.5% across-the-board raise in line with the Bureau of Labor Statistics Employment Costs Index for government workers. Unfortunately, the library board has since approved a reduced version of that budget, offering only a 3% increase, an amount that doesn't even keep up with inflation, let alone close the pay gap. Of our 284 employees, 200 are hourly, and the starting pay for every one of these roles is below a livable wage. I've seen colleagues working second or third jobs, skipping medical appointments they can't afford, and worrying about putting food on their tables. These aren't isolated situations. They are a common reality for many of our dedicated public servants.
Investing in our library staff is an investment in our community. Fair wages ensure we retain experienced and dedicated individuals who are passionate about serving the public. By approving a budget that includes a meaningful wage increase, you are not only recognizing the hard work of our library staff, but also ensuring the continued excellence of our library system. I request that this council advocate for the library board to reconsider its decision and approve the originally proposed budget. Your support in this matter would make a difference in the lives of many dedicated Greenville County employees and strengthen a vital community asset. Thank you for your time and your consideration.
Thank you very much. Next on the agenda is item C, which is Greenville County Land Development Regulations Amendment Design Standards. Councilor Bradley.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Greenville County Land Development Regulations Amendment Design Standards. This public hearing is being held for the purpose of receiving comments from the public regarding ordinance amending section 10.3 design standards of the Greenville County Land Development Regulations to require new business, office, mercantile assemblies, education, or storage use structures or developments be designed and constructed comparable with the surrounding areas and conform with the unique character and architectural high points of the surrounding buildings.
Thank you, Ms. Stone.
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Bradley, we have no speakers for this public hearing.
All right. Move on to item D, which is Greenville County Land Development Regulations Amendment, Section 15 through 102. Councilor Bradley.
This public hearing is being held for the purpose of receiving comments from the public regarding an ordinance to amend Section 15-102 of the Greenville County Land Development Regulations concerning additional citizens' input and eliminating staff recommendations on approvals.
Thank you. Ms. Stone.
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Bradley, we have no speakers for this public hearing.
Thank you. We'll move on to the consent agenda.
Move approval of the consent agenda.
Thank you. All in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Again, item 9 has been withdrawn. So we'll move on to ordinances at third reading. We'll start with Councilor Bradley, CZ 2025-016.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Property located at 847 Fairview Road and Wilson Bridge Road requiring rezoning from RS to R10. I move to adopt on the ordinance at third reading.
All in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. CZ 2025-017, Councilor Bradley.
Property located at 4607 and 4615 Old Spartanburg Road requesting rezoning from POD to R-MA. I move to adopt the ordinance at third reading.
Thank you. All in favor of the motion, please say aye.
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 Opposed? The ayes have it. CZ 2025-019, Councilor Bradley.
Property located at 101 Stalling Road requiring rezoning from RS to R12. I move adoption of this ordinance at third reading.
Thank you. All in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. CZ 2025-020, Councilor Bradley.
Property located at 358 South Harrison Bridge Road and New Harrison Bridge Road requesting rezoning from RS to AG. I move adoption of this ordinance at third reading.
Thank you. All in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. We're on to item B, third reading, Animal Control Ordinance Amendment. Councilor McGahee.
Ordinance at third reading, Animal Control Ordinance Amendment motion. I move for adoption at third reading. An ordinance to amend Chapter 4 of the Greenville County Code of Ordinance regulating animal care in Greenville County. I'd like to ask if there are any comments from any of my colleagues on the council, please.
Haven't heard none. All in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Roll call, please.
That wasn't a bark.
Mr. Chairman, I asked for a roll call. I know it's late and we already had the vote, but you really couldn't tell who voted against. So if it doesn't bother anybody, I'd like to get a roll call vote so we know. We can
Yeah,
see
no,
where
I
everybody
was
voted.
requesting one. I didn't know if they had heard me or not. We're good to go now.
And this point of info, this is to approve the, at third reading, the animal ordinance, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, we have 12 in favor, none in opposition.
Motion passes. Next item on the agenda is we have ordinances at second reading. And this one, I need to ask the attorney about how I would handle this because I believe this was one that we had discussed a hold on prior to. And I haven't heard from staff or from council or from anyone else on this item yet.
We're talking about CZ 2025-14?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I thought that was the one that last night was amended by the, am I wrong about that?
This is a different one. This is in, yeah. And it's more about the motion, how the chair would handle it, because it's a motion I'll probably have to make.
Yeah.
Or I can request somebody else.
You could request somebody else too, or you have, yeah.
Request a hold on this item. Okay. All right. So this, CZ 2025-014, Councilor Bradley.
Property located on Andrews Road and Richard Avenue, request rezoning from R-MHP to R-M8. The Planning Commission recommended approval, and the committee recommended denial. And I would ask on behalf of our chair to put this on hold.
All in favor of the motion, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Move to item B, ordinance at second reading, Greenville County Library Budget Millage Request. Councilor Collins.
I have my paper. Greenville County Library Budget Millage Request. I move for approval at second reading an ordinance to approve the appropriation of funds from the Greenville County Library System for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2025 and ending June 30th, 2026, and to authorize the ad valorem property tax millage for library purposes.
All right. Any discussion on the motion?
Mr. Chairman, have an amendment.
Dr. Fant?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move to amend the ordinance to approve the appropriation of funds for the Greenville County Library System for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2025 and ending June 30th, 2026, and to authorize the annual ad valorem property tax millage for library purposes to be consistent with the proposed amended ordinance and budget draft appended to the motion. And I have comments, if I may, to why we are offering this amendment and encouraging my colleagues to support it.
Mm-hmm.
Most of us know that the Greenville County Library employees are the front line of learning, the front line of literacy, and public service in our community. And yet there's still employees at the Greenville County Library that make just $10.83 an hour. That's not conservative budgeting and not just morally wrong. It is morally indefensible. These are skilled, dedicated individuals who help our children read, assist job seekers, and support our seniors with technology and provide safe, welcoming spaces for everyone. The original proposed budget includes greatly deserved raises that reflects the real value of their work and the rapidly rising cost of living in Greenville County. And it does not require an increase in property taxes. If we want to maintain a high-quality public library system, we must start by respecting and retaining the people who make it work. I urge my colleagues on this council to support the original proposed budget for fairness, for service, and for the future of Greenville County. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes. Councilor Tripp.
I think we're shadow boxing tonight. I think we're fighting old fights. I think we're having shadow conversations about ideology of some library staff, fights that we've had in the past. But I'm going to just tell you, this is an issue that is near and dear to my heart. Most of you know I have 3 younger children, 7, 6, and 2. Earlier in Cal, we talked about making a $30 million investment in roads. And y'all know how hard I fought last year to get roads improved in Greenville County. But this vote right here is 1,000 times more important than roads because it affects our children. I very rarely get to have any time with my wife because of our 3 small children, but we got a babysitter on Saturday, and before we went on our little date, I helped her carry a bag of books to the Malden Library, and I swear that thing weighed 100 pounds. I've never seen 3 kids voraciously devour books like these kids do. And I remember a couple of weeks before that, I got to take the kids to the library because that's one of their favorite things to do is to go check out books. And I was carrying the LL Bean that was 100 pounds a week ago, and it was filled with books, and we dropped them off, and the kids went to the hold section and got all their books. My 2-year-old grabbed his little bag out of the book and started wandering the aisles looking for books, insistent that he was going to be able to check out books. He's got his own library card. These are memories that are part of my family's legacy. And I'm going to just take a second to thank the staff at Malden Library. They are so helpful. Whether I agree with something they may believe, it doesn't matter. Whether they look like me, it doesn't matter. Whether, what binds us together is the love of learning. And the Malden staff, Beverly, you give them my tip of the hat because they are the most friendly people. They sat there and checked out the 100 books that we put on hold. And I have nothing but praise for our library employees. Are there fights that divide us? Sure. Are there people that stoke those fights? Absolutely. And I think that's a little bit of what's going on tonight. We have got to make an investment in our kids. And I'm a yes vote for Mr. Ennis-Fant's amendment.
Thank you, Councilor Tripp. Anybody else? Councilor Collins.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, my colleagues, when this library budget was originally presented in the Finance Committee, I voted against it. Since then, all of us have heard from multiple people in the community, including library employees, and they're speaking out against this budget. Well, a common thread to those opposed in this budget harms library employees. It cuts expenses too much or jeopardizes the library operations. Some has even gone as far as to suggest that the board overstepped their authority when they directed the executive director to make changes to the budget. Well, that board is selected by us, and they have that authority. And I want to commend them on that. That said, let me be clear. My vote in the Finance Committee was not because of any reductions made to the executive director's budget or any reasons being expressed by those in opposition, but on the contrary, my vote was to press for more cuts to expenses and millage. And let me explain. The library has excess reserves on hand. And I believe that the library millage should be reduced further to provide a greater tax relief for the taxpayer by using up more of that reserve fund. We're not saying cut services. There's plenty of money to cut services. If they want to they have reserve to do that. The thing that we're saying is, since the Finance Committee meeting, I have continued to study and research the library budget, which was presented on the meeting, and I'm grateful for that. While I still believe that the greater cost savings can be found with additional millage, and it can be cut going forward, but I'm appreciated to the efforts of the library board members during the budget cycle to reject a ridiculous 13.1% increase in operating expense proposed by the director in her budget, and their work to reduce that library millage rate to a 7%. That said, I also appreciate the caution that they are exercising in their analysis for future projections. So I am prepared to support the original amendment or a budget approved by the library board, and with one caveat, that we continue to find ways to reduce taxes but save money. But as you do a job, you streamline that, you make it better, and you improve on merit. And I'm not saying they're not merit-based, but that's what you do at any job. You try to do it smarter, not harder. Use that from the administrator. So I want to thank the council members who requested the original library budget draft to the director, and I appreciate that. But that draft provided us with insight to where a bureaucratic approach to budgeting looks like. That budget, which increased operating expenses by a staggering 13.1% over the prior year, addressed the excess reserve by increasing spending instead of analyzing the needs. The operating budget is packed with a one-time special capital improvements, even though the library has a separate capital projects fund and its own millage. The budget had an annual pay increases that were significantly higher than inflation and higher than even the council gives to the county staff. Just let that sink in. And we're not picking our fights or our shadows. In short, I was just saying, to be fiscal with this budget, I applaud the board again for tossing it to the side and working hard to come up with a common sense budget that was voted on by that board and passed, doing their due diligence as a hand-selected board for that library system that we entrust to as a board. So we've heard a lot about library employee salaries in the past several weeks. So I did some more digging, and it's very interesting. The Human Resource Department of the Library Administration conducted a wage study comparing the wages of their positions to similar positions in the county. The board was told that the director's budget included a 17.2% increase in wage expenses to get library positions more in line with county positions. However, the information we have been provided clearly shows that currently the lowest full-time salary for the library is $31,429. This is from their budget or HR department, which is already greater than the lowest Greenville County full-time salary of $31,373. And I'm not here picking sides. I'm just presenting you the information that we recovered. So before, any increase in the library is already slightly ahead of the county in the lowest paid positions. Furthermore, when you include the salary inflation increase to the budget of the library board and their implementation of wage study of 2 years, that was mentioned, the lowest full-time paid position at the library was 10.5% higher than the lowest paid full-time position at Greenville County. Additionally, when I Google search average salary in Greenville, I found $44,988 per talent.com. I give you my reference. And $53,695 per ZipRecruiter. The median salary of the library is currently $45,586, and that will rise to $51,025 after a library board's budget and wage study implementation as the board approved. Those asking this council to use the director's liberal budget instead of using a conservative approach to saving the taxpayer money, which is our job, we're citing a lack of a wage to oppose the board's budget. It actually is arguing against the analysis of the wage study by the library administrator's own HR department. I mean, so that said, based on this information, I cannot support my colleagues' amendment and the library salaries. And as I finish, Mr. Chair, and I appreciate you for your time and thank you for your patience, but I did a lot of work on this. And I applaud the library board and all that had to act on that. And again, the only reason I voted no in Finance Committee, because I think we could have done a little better. Not a lot, but enough to say, hey, we're trying to be stewards of your money. So, I also applaud them for analyzing their reserves and the annual excesses, which I've studied over and over and over again, and recommend a responsible reduction in tax rate. And I appreciate their commitment to good stewards of taxpayer funds going forward. I could offer a suggestion to the board, if it may be, as that position of that director, I would definitely start the search for a new one. I rest my time.
Thank you, Councilor Collins. Anybody else?
One question, Mr. Chairman. The original budget from the administrator at the library, I understand, was a 4.5% raise for the employees. So the new budget says 3%. So we are debating over, if it's a $15 hour job, we're debating over 22 cents. Now,
I hope you're not looking at me for quick math on that one. Chime in.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just appreciate all the speakers tonight and the work that you do. It is important. I hope that this council realizes that we have really good employees at the libraries, at all of our positions at the county, and it's our responsibility, our whole job, what we do at the county, what we do at the library, it's customer service, it's forward-facing, it's people. So I'm certainly in favor of Dr. Fance's motion, and when the time comes, Mr. Chairman, I request a roll call vote.
Thank you very much. Else?
Yeah, I've got all the pay for all the library staff right in front of me, and I just want to make a point just to say that there is only 2 employees that are getting paid $10 to $11. So one of them is they're both library pages. One is getting paid $10.83 an hour. The other one's getting paid $11.26 an hour, and they're only authorized to work 16 and 20 hours. So they're both part-time employees. Just want to make that information clear.
Thank you, Councilor Farmer. Councilor Mitchell?
And I did not come with a prepared speech tonight. I would just like to say that this library budget and the whole issue touches a personal point with me. I have a sister who is a librarian, and she's been a librarian in places like Hughes Aircraft, Los Angeles County System, and several others. But she's changed systems because of issues like this. They don't like to pay librarians for some reason. Librarians go to school and take library science courses. But then when they get out, they have difficulty trying to maintain a good lifestyle because they are not viewed as full-time established employees. They're viewed as helpers. You go to the library and you can get a little help. Now, I will tell you that I can be pretty good with numbers, and I will also tell you that liars figure and figures lie. So when you're talking about 1.5% difference in a pay scale that might equal to 45 cents. It's not enough to quibble over because we're talking about lives. And if that 45 cents is going to help somebody improve their life, then to me it's worth it. We can find other ways to make up that difference. And I'm sure that the library system can also find other ways to make up the difference. In fact, they will not even suffer with this amendment. So thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
I'd just like to say, I struggle hard with this too. I live near the Five Forks Library, which is beautiful. Everybody there is super nice. My kids love going there. My wife goes there. And like similar to Mr. Tripp, I mean, my kids, my one son, I think he's read every book in that library. But what I'm saying here is I can't speak out two sides of my mouth to my colleagues. A lot of us up here ran on cutting taxes, all right? And I feel for people. I get it. I wish I made more at my job. I get it. I would love to. But as a person that is responsible for the taxpayers' money, it's irresponsible to give large raises. And I think there's a few red herrings out there, okay? Yeah, you know what? There's a lot of people at Parks and Rec that make $9 an hour. You know what they are? They're high school kids. They're not making living wages. I kind of take a little offense to that because that's a misnomer. You're trying to mislead people. That's not the truth. Frank brought it out right now. $11 is not what most people make in the library system. Now, arguably, is $51,000 a lot of money? Some people it is. I drive a 13-year-old car with 280,000 miles on it, okay? So what I'm saying is I was elected to cut taxes. I was elected to have transparency. I was elected to give you a voice. I was elected to all these things. So in that nature, I get it. I don't want to speak out two sides of my. I feel for people. I wish everybody could make more money. Times are hard. I get it. You know, I live in an old house. It's okay. I mean, those things happen. But at the same time, I can't be drawn into a system that says I feel bad for people and they should make more money because I think they don't make enough. Well, there's nobody with a college degree at the library making $11 an hour, as was proposed by some of my colleagues. So, I can't speak outside my. I'll be able to no vote on this amendment.
Thank you, Councilman Goette. Anybody else?
Just very briefly,
Michelle?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Chairman. I just wanted, every time I've been to the libraries in this county, I've had a fantastic time. The staff is great. I just want to give a lot of thanks, though, to our board that we appoint, the library board, for a lot of hard work, way more than maybe some of the other boards, and I'm just going to rely upon their recommendation. Thank you.
Anybody else?
Mr. Chair, if I may, I'm sorry.
Councilor Seaman?
I was going to call the question, but go ahead.
Okay.
Councilor Collins?
I just made it. Thank you. There's a lot of things, like my colleague said, that if you're not certified or credentialed in the library system, well, that's determined by the state legislature. And that certification comes from the ALA, which is the American Libraries Association. And they don't say there's 6 positions in a library. Okay? So call your state rep. Thank you.
All right, and the only thing that I'm going to add to this myself is while I feel for people, I also believe in the process, and I believe that if we have boards for a reason. Exact same way why I don't like when the state decided to jump in and beat us to death over issues we didn't need to be beat over the head with. I think that we should trust these boards, and if the citizens aren't happy with those boards, they should then lobby us to get new people to fill those positions so those boards can do their job. And this is not an easy decision for anybody, but if we're going to start down the road of bypassing board decisions, then we're basically taking government and turning it up on its head, and to me, that is concerning. So I wish that we had been able to handle this differently. But I believe that there's a purpose for those structures the way they are. So if there's...
I'll vote, please.
All right, roll call's been announced.
This is on Dr. Fonts.
This is on the amendment, correct, for Dr. Fant.
Mr. Chairman, can you restate the amendment?
Yes, please.
The amendment is to revert back to the original budget as proposed to the board prior to it restructuring it to what was presented to us.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, you have 4 in favor, 8 opposed.
All right, thank you very much. So the amendment fails, and we will move on to the Greenville County to the budget amendment, to the budget adoption. Correct? All right, does everybody understand the motion?
One more time.
This is to adopt to adopt the budget as presented from the board to the Finance Committee.
Mr. Chairman?
Councilor Seaman.
To several of your points about the process, perhaps motion to hold. I think if there's a way for the staff and the board maybe, to your point, if we'd rather pay people, maybe we could give the board some direction to look at the budget one more time and present us something different.
So to be clear on the motion, what Councilor Seaman's asking for is for us to consider a hold so the board can consider their own amendments to the budget.
Yes, sir.
Any other discussion on the motion?
Mr. Chairman, does anybody know what the budget passed by with the vote was? I'm just curious because if it was 5-0, then we're just pedaling in the sand here doing nothing. So I mean, I'm not opposed to what you're asking, Councilor Seaman. I'm just saying that if it was 5-0, then that's a waste of time.
Do we have any idea how the library board voted on the budget? Unanimous, so 5-0.
Okay. I'd like everybody to consider that. If we send it back, if it was 3-2, I might even, but it was.
So it was not unanimous.
It was.
Let me ask a different question too, because with involving budgets, if we were to hold, because I know with our budgets, we have to do stuff on a certain timeline. Do we know the timeline on adoption for the library board? So they do have time? Okay. Any other discussion? All right.
I think to vote hold is really putting the library board back in a real ringer. So I hope we just go with what they've given us.
Mr. Chairman, should we remove that next time you ask us to hold something? Because you're a master at holding things.
I would just like to add that these budget talks, when it comes from boards and other places, kind of puts all of us in the ringer. So we're kind of all in this together on that. So nobody's called a roll call, so this will be for Councilor Seaman's motion to hold.
Roll call.
Roll call.
Roll call's been announced.
Forget, so I brought it up.
I get it.
Mr. Chairman, the vote is 6 in favor, 6 opposed.
All right, so that motion fails. And we still have a motion on the floor.
Roll call.
All right. Roll call, and this is for the adoption for the budget as presented to Council and Finance Committee and all the other things I just said.
Mr. Chairman, you have 8 in favor, 4 opposed.
The motion is approved. We will move to ordinances at first reading. Brookfield Special Tax District, millage request, Councilor Collins.
I'm caught off guard again. Okay, I gotta find it now.
Hey, will someone let my dog out?
I know, right? Forgive me. Trying to find it here. Forgive me. All right, item 12A, please forgive me. Brookfield Special Tax District millage request. I present for first reading an ordinance to approve the Brookfield Special Tax District Commissioner's request for an increase to its current ad valorem property tax millage levy.
Thank you, Councilor, and this will stay on the council floor. We'll move on to committee reports. Committee of the Whole, 2025 TAP Grant, West Greenville Shared Use Path. Council Bradley.
On behalf of the committee, I move to approve the 2025 TAP grant for the West Greenville Shared Use Path.
Thank you. All in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it. Next is public comments. I believe we have 2 speakers.
The first speaker is Amelia Sanders. Her topic is affordable housing.
Welcome, Ms. Sanders.
So my name is Amelia Sanders, and I live at 201 Hermitage Road in Greenville. I'm a longtime Greenville resident, retired from a long career with Michelin. I'm a county commissioner, a volunteer, and an affordable housing advocate. You know, I know it's late, but I appreciate the opportunity to speak with you today about an issue at the core of our county's continued prosperity. You can ask any of the major employers in the area. They will tell you that the strength of our economy rests on our workforce. And you and I know that these workers who are at the very foundation of our economy, they all need affordable housing. Greenville's economy is thriving, but with that growth comes some real challenges, especially for the essential workers who keep our community running. And right now, a lot of our teachers, first responders, healthcare professionals, and service industry employees are struggling to find affordable housing in the communities they serve. For example, a starting teacher who earns around $50,000 a year makes roughly 75% of the area median income. And our librarians that we just talked about, they make less than 50% of our area median income. In Greenville County, the average rent has climbed to more than $1,400 a month, and the median home price is over $354,000. For that teacher and that librarian, it's getting harder and harder to find affordable, stable housing in our county. Hardworking folks are increasingly being priced out of the very neighborhoods that they support. When our workers are pushed to live farther away, we lose their local spending, but we also lose the tight-knit, vibrant communities that have long defined Greenville County. When we make sure that those who serve and protect our community can also live in our community, we further strengthen our economy, our neighborhoods, and our future. If we strategically align public dollars with private investment to create more affordable housing, we can continue to retain and grow that incredible workforce and grow our economy. As a business person, I know the growing economy we all benefit from today didn't happen by accident, and it wasn't luck either. Over the past decades, we have had leaders in place who took the long view and made strategic investments for our future. For us, as the leaders of today, I believe that affordable housing is that same kind of strategic investment. It's simply put, smart, common sense economic planning. I'm asking you, the County Council, to maintain the county funding of $3 million for affordable housing in the budget. It's not an added expense, but a strategic investment in our local economy. When our residents can find a safe, secure, and affordable place to live, they can get down to the business of raising families, working, and being part of the community we all love. Our businesses and our entire local economy will benefit from that. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you very much.
The next speaker is Carrie Driggers. Her topic is GreenLink.
Welcome.
Thank you. Actually, does mean a lot that you say that. So, hello. My name is Carrie Driggers. I live right next door to Heritage Park Amphitheater, and I love every minute of it. But I'm here today as a disabled person, someone who understands what it means to navigate a world that wasn't built for us. I may not currently use public transportation myself, but many in my community do, and what affects them affects all of us. Right now, you're considering what funding for public transit will look like for the future. I want to urge you to think carefully about what that really means, not just in dollars, but in human lives and dignity. For many disabled people, public transit isn't optional. It's not a matter of saving gas money or skipping traffic. It's a lifeline. It's how they get to work, pick up medications, visit family, or simply exist in public space. Without it, isolation grows, independence shrinks, and access to basic needs excuse me, become a daily struggle. When we talk about cutting transit funding, we're not talking about cutting something extra. We're talking about removing essential infrastructure from the people who need it most, especially those who already face systemic barriers: disabled people, elders, and low-income individuals. I may not rely on public transit personally, but I feel the impact of these cuts in my community. I hear the stories of friends waiting hours for paratransit that never comes. I hear of consumers stranded because a bus stop isn't wheelchair accessible. I know people who turn down jobs because they can't reliably get there. This isn't just about transportation, it's about justice. It's about whether we, as a society, are willing to invest in inclusion, or whether we're willing to let people be left behind. Public transportation is a public good, and accessible transit is actually a civil right. Happy to talk laws with you if you want to. When you reduce funding, you send a clear message about whose lives are valued and whose are considered expendable. Please, I urge you to fully fund and protect public transportation, not just for those who use it, but for the kind of community we all want to live in, one where no one is excluded simply because they can't drive or afford a car. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next on the agenda, we have the administrator's report.
Mr. Chairman, members of council, I just got one quick reminder. We'll have our Citizens Academy a week from today, next Tuesday, the 13th, and we're going to go to Animal Care and then proceed up to Pleasant Ridge Park. So any of you that would like to participate, let us know. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Administrator. Next up on the agenda, we have requests and motions by council members, and I'll pass this off to Councilor Bradley.
Request from the council members. Yeah, I done turned it off. I thought I was done. A resolution to initiate the development of an impact fee ordinance and capital improvement plan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As noticed on the county council agenda, I would like to introduce a resolution to initiate the development of an impact fee ordinance and capital improvement plan pursuant to the South Carolina Development Impact Fee Act. And I'd just like to say that this act is something, the reason I wanted to speak on it is as I started to look at it and spoke with our attorney, we realized how much of an undertaking this would be. And it's going to require a study and probably a lot of deliberation with the public and all kinds of people involved. But I think that this is an important step of adding another tool to the Greenville County toolbox of addressing infrastructure in real time. So I would request that this item be referred to the Finance Committee. Does he have to do anything before I get the gavel back? All right. With that, I will accept one final motion.
Motion to adjourn.
All in favor? All opposed? I didn't think so. Have a good night.